My name is Simone Pettigrew. I work at the George Institute for Global Health, where we do various research programs basically centred around how to communicate information to people in a manner that they find interesting, relevant to them, and that they would like to act upon. And we do this across a range of topic areas, including alcohol, tobacco, sun protection, etc. The aim of this work was to review a campaign that was instigated by the Mental Health Commission of Western Australia, and the aim of the campaign was to advise people, both pregnant women, those who are intending on becoming pregnant, and their community support groups, that drinking alcohol while you're pregnant is contraindicated, and in fact we shouldn't be drinking when we're planning on conceiving and also while breastfeeding. So that's been part of the NHMRC's guidelines around alcohol consumption since about 2009. But it's a message that hasn't quite reached everybody. So for example, around a third of pregnant women in Australia still drink at some stage during their pregnancy. So there's a real need to make sure that people are aware that not even small amounts work when you're pregnant, that any alcohol that you consume flows through to the baby. The placenta isn't able to filter it out, so therefore any alcohol consumption by mum equals alcohol consumption by bub. And that's new information to a lot of people. And in fact, when we evaluated the campaign, one of the really striking messages was that more than half of the people who had seen the ad said that it actually taught them something they hadn't known previously. And it's a really nice, striking ad. It's a glass fetus and a glass placenta, and the red wine glass sort of pours into the glass placenta and filters down into the baby. And it's a nice analogy at a couple of levels. So one, red wine is used in most of the campaign materials. So that kind of simulates blood. So you can sort of see the blood level rising up in the fetus. But it's also very effective because that one glass of red wine pretty much fills the fetus up until its mouth. So that's indicating to people that even small amounts of alcohol are filtering directly through to the baby and therefore causing harm. It's a very, very important message because fetal alcohol spectrum disorder is permanent. It's lifelong. Once a baby's been harmed through alcohol exposure in vitro, there is no cure for that. So it's very, very important that women have access to the information that they need to take the decisions that they want to take while pregnant, particularly to avoid alcohol use. And it's also really important that other members of the family are also aware of this information. And the campaign very specifically targeted that broader community as well. Previous formative research showed us that, for instance, mothers and mother-in-laws were really important sources of information, and often because those 2009 guidelines were a change on previous guidelines, often those age groups are not aware of the new information and would still say it's okay to drink small amounts. But we now know that's not the case. So it's really important that these messages reach out to the broader community to make sure that pregnant mums have got the support amongst their loved ones, amongst the broader community, so that they can abstain without any undue pressure. The campaign evaluation results were very, very solid. They're amongst the best that we've ever seen. We did 2 evaluations about halfway through the 18-month campaign period and at the end of the period. And at both time points we found that about 3/4 of people had seen the campaign and were aware of it, which is really good cut through in today's really busy media environment. We found that vast majorities found the campaign to be believable and convincing and motivating. And again, that's quite difficult to do these days where people have become very accustomed to lots of messaging in their environment. It's just like the wallpaper at advertising in our lives makes people a little bit, if they even notice it, do they take much notice of it? So in this case, it's been really interesting to see that cut through, the ability of that graphic imagery to be able to capture people's attention and convince them of the authority of the message. They found it to be personally relevant, and they also found it to be very, very credible. They accepted the information as it was. They knew that it came from a credible source, and therefore they found it more compelling. Some of the survey results were interesting in that a major outcome was people saying that they'd gone, since they'd seen the ad, to talk to their GP. They'd raised the campaigns with their friends and families, and so they were seeking additional information. So this bodes well for clinicians when they're working with women who are pregnant and their partners and their family members, to be assured that people actually want to know that this isn't going to be considered offensive information to be asking about their alcohol use. They are really keen to understand what the effects of alcohol use during pregnancy are. So it's a good reminder, especially with half of people saying they were not aware of that information previously, to take the opportunity when working with clients to make sure that we just keep reminding, keep mentioning it, making sure it's top of mind, and being confident that they'll be receptive to that information. The research has been really useful because globally very little work has been done looking at the effects of pregnancy campaigns around alcohol, and partly that's because there have been very few campaigns. So Western Australia has been leading the way in developing and implementing these campaigns, and now also providing this evaluation data that has been really useful for letting the campaign developers and implementers know that it was a really good campaign and to continue investing in that, but also to provide guidance to policymakers in other states and other countries to let them know that this is a really valid method of communicating with people about the dangers associated with alcohol use in pregnancy. An important takeout from the study was that those who considered the campaign to be most effective were also those who felt most confident in their ability to not drink while pregnant. So that tells us that self-efficacy is an important aspect to consider. So when talking to people about alcohol use in pregnancy, one, they need to know that it's something to limit and that they really shouldn't be drinking while pregnant. But two, assisting with what kind of techniques could they use to avoid alcohol? What should they do in social situations? How can the family as a whole support the pregnant person, to assist them not to drink in communal environments? So that kind of how-to information is also really important, as well as the factual information about why not to drink while pregnant.